opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes a gentleman from Texas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also thank the chair and ranking member of the full committee that has jurisdiction of these issues. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to speak on this amendment. This amendment delays the implementation of legislation by 1 year and requires that a study be conducted in time by GAO on the effects of implementation. We are making drastic changes, and drastic changes ought not be made rapidly. We ought to give ourselves the time to study these things so that we can make prudent and judicious decisions. A GAO study would provide us with a rigorous, unbiased analysis of the likely impacts of the bill. It would examine the economic, regulatory, and administrative implications of this new approval process. It would help us to better understand how the shift might affect industries, consumers especially, the economy, and the government. While the intent to improve regulatory oversight is laudable, we must not rush into this. There should not be this rush to judgment as to the implications without at least giving ourselves an opportunity to examine them. We shouldn't do this without fully appreciating the potential consequences. I believe that this amendment, while simple, it is something that can be of great benefit, and I reserve.
The gentleman reserves. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Wyoming wish to be recognized?
Mr. Chair, I claim the time in opposition to the amendment.
Gentlewoman is recognized for 5 minutes.
This amendment is simply an attempt to delay implementation of a bill that the Democrats do not support. If the Democrats don't like the bill, they can vote against it. Even if implementation was delayed a year, it is unclear what, if any, value a study could provide. However, during that year, agencies would continue issuing more and more major rules at the cost and the expense of the American public. It's time for Congress to reclaim its constitutional role as the body that makes policy in this country. I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Woman reserves. Mr. Green from Texas.
It is my belief that moving with measured steps is not a delay. It is a judicious means by which we can ascertain whether this change, this drastic change, one might say radical change, will produce radical, unacceptable results. I think the amendment should be supported, and I would ask my colleagues to do so. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. This gentlewoman from Wyoming.
Yes, I just have a couple of points to make. One is that the REINS Act has enjoyed long-standing bipartisan support. In fact, the House passed prior versions of the REINS Act with bipartisan support in each of the 115th, 114th, 113th, and 112th Congresses. In other words, this is an act that has been studied and discussed extensively over the years, and there's no reason for a one-year delay in its implementation once the bill passes. Thank you, and I reserve.
Does the gentlewoman from Wyoming have the only time remaining?
Okay, I will yield.